Mexico won today. I hope Mexico won today. Shit. Mexico. Man, against Rice King got World Cup betting. And Mexico played today. Last time I checked the score, I saw 2-0, so they better have won. You lose from a 2-0. They go 3-2. That'd be sad. Oh, God. I gotta move all my farm accounts to their own line. Fuck these guys. I don't want to be at you. Fuck at you. Yeah, you working here? What's on what? Feeding and talking about you can bring your accounts back. You're a control freak. He's insane. I'm a control freak. It's crazy. He's wild. We're gonna lose him. Now I gotta show you how much of a control freak I'm not. Motherfuckers trying to make fun of me talking about, are you high again? Bitch, what is that? Is that why you're doing all this? Because you're not sober? Bitch! Every time I play this game, I'm smoking. Don't.
Wouldn't that be worse if I was sober?
Exactly. Like, shut the fuck up, you dumbass. You even know what the effects of weed do, you stupid motherfucker? You want to talk to me when I'm not sober. Me talking to you when you're just gonna keep feeling stupid. And you're wondering why. Why is this guy disrespecting me so much? Because I'm sober. And I'm just giving you blank fucking truth, you dumbass.
Well, it's not. Maybe that's brutal. But it's
Somebody
true.
gotta do it. God damn. There's a lot of dummy. A lot of dummies out there. I can't be responsible for all of them. Not even some of them. Because I gotta be responsible for myself. And that's already hard enough already. I got 15 billion resources and shit that I lost like maybe I'm gonna be bickering with these motherfuckers. I gotta be rallying force. Anyways, let me move my farm accounts out of this hat you area. I don't want to be nowhere near this faggot. This man tried to tell me I'm acting like I'm a 40-year-old man. I'm 40 years old now. Acting like a 10-year-old. When every time somebody try to tell you to do something, you get mad. Oh, you didn't talk to me like that. Da, 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 da. I'm the 10-year-old motherfucker. You can't take constructive criticism. I'm the 10-year-old. Got a rude awakening coming to you, man. You're gonna learn about me. Get the books and start studying. And he was gonna leave with his girlfriend and his dad and everybody else that came with him. Bro, you don't see what you're doing right now. If I leave, everybody else is gonna go ahead. Bring all your friends with you. I don't give a fuck. Take them with you, motherfucker. You wanna act like a fucking roach? Go ahead, take them with you. Fuck, I look like. You think I'm gonna sit here and let you get some leverage on us because you guys brought a little bit of activity to the fucking kingdom? I don't give a fuck if y'all leave. I'm not backing down on what I'm saying. You made a mistake, and I'm here to correct you. Point blank. Period. When I make a mistake, the king correct me, and I say okay. Point blank. Everybody see it. Sometimes he correct me in the alliance chat, and I just point blank back down and say okay. I'm sorry. Your ass need to do the same thing. You made a mistake. Okay. I'm sorry. That's it, motherfucker. What the fuck you sitting here arguing with me, telling me to calm down, telling me I'm a control freak for? Fuck out of here. Ain't like every day I wake up, I try to tell you what to do. I don't want to talk to you, motherfucker. Very brain ass nigga, little dick ass nigga. I'm sorry, bro. It is what it is, dog. Like, people act like I love talking. I don't like talking to none of y'all. I'd rather just come in the game, look what I need, get it, and get the fuck off. But I can't because I love my kingdom too much. Dear Lord, let this joint give me clarity.
Wonder why I stopped saying those keepers. It's too much.
No, nigga, I need you still. Oh, you ass abandoned me.
What the fuck about that? I barely get anything in the last line we was in. I was just fucking around and
You
niggas thought I was
kicked out your accounts too out to hat you because you know they're affiliated with me.
the fuck I'm gonna do with them. That's still crazy though. I ain't do nothing to get kicked out.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
Fuck that shit.
Fuck that guy. Affiliation indeed. Fortunately, because of the love for the kingdom, I have to work with him. I don't care. I'll do it. I'll swallow my pride. But I'll never forget this. You make a mistake, and ultimately, at the end of the day, you try to punish me for it, like I did something wrong. I'll never forget this. It's gonna go down in history.
Yeah, I was trying to compliment your hat last night in Discord. They just kind of dipped without saying anything.
No, someone kicked me out because I didn't say anything. I heard that too, but I was over here dozing off because I was so tired. When they kicked me, I was like, "Fuck, fine, I'll just go to sleep."
Kick? Are you sure it wasn't? No, I think that was the
Nope, I was kicked out.
it said you were kicked?
It made it sound like I was kicked.
But nobody in there had the authority to just kick you.
Are you sure about that? Because I didn't press nothing. I was literally sitting here falling asleep. So how did I just leave like that?
Are you sure it didn't put you in the AFK chat? Because it does that. If you don't talk for a while, it just moves you out into a different chat.
Oh, well, I guess that might have happened.
Yeah, y'all don't have that in y'all discords where if nobody says anything for too long, they just don't move them to AFK or some shit?
No.
Oh, yeah, we have
I
that.
don't even use Discord like that to know that.
Yeah. So you didn't get kicked, you probably just got moved to AFK. That's just a bot that.
Well, I was sitting here watching my video, and I didn't want to have the TV in the background and shit, so I just muted myself when I was sitting here listening to you guys and listening to the TV, and then I started dozing off because, like I said, I'm tired as fuck. So I saw myself get kicked on my out. Guess it's bedtime.
More confused. If you're confused, like, you can slide like sleep. Yeah. You? I'm tired.
You would fucking put me in Rivendell, you bitch. You dirty bitch. Fuck all you niggas. Fuck all you. Huh? Wake up every day, pray to God, and then what do I get? Bullshit. I don't know what the fuck to believe in anymore. Look at me. Does it look like I'm playing Malta? Does it look like I'm playing? Stop telling me to calm down, bitch. I am calm.
Oh, come. That's fuck boy. Smash.
What the fuck makes you think I'm not calm? It's because I'm cursing a lot? I do that shit normally, bitch. Yeah, yeah. I could be jumping. They just released a new battle today too.
Yeah.
or this morning, or whatever the fuck. They released a new pal with that look like Medusa.
Even more pounds.
They're just dropping pals.
We're gonna get a pal every day to the fucking release date.
That'll be crazy.
Hey, this is your work. Oh,
All right, time to move my other farm account because I'm not allowed to be in Hat U anymore. At least that's what I told myself. Fuck everybody. The world is a op. I fucking love that shit, but Minion is still skeptical of it. I have to literally hold her, stop her from fucking smelling it and looking at me like, can you stop trying to smell this shit and let me comb you, motherfucker?
yeah, she's good.
She was even standing up trying to get it out my hair. I'm like, bro, since when you know how to stand up?
Bitch, you call me and fuck you up.
You will die.
You playing the game. Playing the game.
You will die. Here you go.
So a few things over there.
This week they're annoying as fuck.
For some reason, no one in the trash is stopping.
Nah, they're pretending to be dead. Those pretentious motherfuckers. Stare them long enough to start jumping like a crackhead.
No, it's just smarter than the he and I are coming.
I don't got time for the bullshit. I'd rather just beat myself, rally forwards, and not having to monitor nobody, be nobody's fucking commander in chief, nobody's daddy. Don't report to me, don't report to the king. You need help with building your accounts, I'll help you do that. I'm not trying to be in control of nobody. Fuck that shit. Fuck that role. Fuck that position. Man, I here kicked off all my farm accounts.
Yeah, that shit's easy.
Leave it in there. It's fine.
Okay, that's it. Let's just be my milk. He's mixed. Just standing up and going. You can't.
Leave it alone. Leave it alone. Get off the fucking bag. Get your point on your head. Garbage. Unreal.
Minions. What the fuck, bro? Getting the sand everywhere. You put that shit in there. You just put it on the fucking floor. You know, just put it together on your house. Keep it in the box. Keep it in the box. In the box. Keep sand in the box. Too excited. Um, okay? Okay? You do 2 360s just now.
Oh, that shit's 720. No reason. Man, running around zone one, killing these dollar camps. Just killed that one. Oh no, I'm going this one. Point. Ah.
Nation.
Motherfucker, nails, sharp in my skin, hurt, bitch, please, remove them. Thank you. Wait, still on my wait. If you hear me ass while I'm rolling pin. Cheers. I love you. Not right now. Mm. Oh,
Support. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. This is definitely an asthma thing. Let's watch it. In the last 50 years, over $1.2 trillion of aid money has been poured into Africa, more than the entire GDP of countries like Spain, Australia, or South Korea. When all of this
what a waste of money, guys. Oh my God, what a waste. God, just 11%
Wow.
of Africa lived in poverty. But by the 1990s, after floods of money and global campaigns, that number had actually increased to 66%.
What?
And
So the more money we give them, the poorer they get. What?
it stands at 38%, over
Holy
3 times
shit.
higher when the aid program started. In fact,
So he spent $1 trillion to make them 3 times poorer?
back in the 1950s, the average
Is
Western
this
European
real?
was just 5 times richer than the average African. Now the gap has more than doubled to 13 times.
There's no way it's that low. There's no way it's only 13x.
Today, over half of all Africa.
Like, I'm sorry, but like, are you really trying to tell me that like this guy, like any of these people in this photo have a net worth that's like, I don't know what average European is. Like, let's say it's $50,000, right? Their net worth. Like, are you really trying to tell me that like their net worth is like $2,000? There's no way.
Still live on less than $5.50 a day, and nearly 600 million people don't have access to electricity. That's not to say this is an entirely recent phenomenon. Africa has always been poorer than the rest of the world, at least for the past 300 years. But for decades,
Probably more like 3,000. Aside from Egypt.
the West's answer to this has been simple. The reason they're poor is because they don't have enough money. And to fix that, we simply just need to give them more. So that's exactly what's happened. Since the 1960s, the amount of aid going into Africa was
So let me get this straight. Why is it that aid money, like we weren't giving a bunch of aid to China, but China became rich? Why did that happen?
it's increased by nearly 120 times. It's easy to see why this is such a popular strategy. It's simple. When we think of aid, we imagine schools being built, roads being paved, children being vaccinated. By and large, this is the strategy that transformed Europe and America into the powerhouses they are today. But in Africa, it doesn't seem to work. The obvious answer that many people turn to is colonialism. Europe wrecked the continent.
Thank God for colonialism. If it wasn't for colonialism, they wouldn't even have these barrels.
Dang.
Leaving economic systems
It'd be even worse.
that the rise of dictators and corruption was inevitable. For while there's no denying
There were no dictators without colonialism.
that fleets of luxury cars, presidential jets, while around 30% of the continent lives without clean water, certainly doesn't help. There's more to the story, and a growing body of research is showing that the money being given to Africa isn't just being wasted, it's actually making the continent poorer. For the truth is that decades of Western involvement might be the one thing holding Africa back. This is how aid laid the foundation for the biggest humanitarian failure of the modern era.
Well, because it's funding all the warlords. They steal all the money.
Foreign aid was seen as a kind of magic bullet, a surefire way to lift the continent of Africa out of extreme poverty. And to be fair, by the 1960s, there was a good reason to think this. The one major incident where it had been tried, it worked remarkably well. After World War II, Europe was left decimated, and all of this
I wonder why.
came with a massive geopolitical risk. Across Western Europe, communist parties were quickly gaining popularity, and there was a real risk that without a strong economy, Western Europe could turn to communism, or worse, be invaded by the Soviet Union. For the US, this would have been a disaster. So in 1947, the government announced one of the most ambitious economic programs in human history, the Marshall Plan. Between 1948 and 1952, the US pumped over $13 billion into Europe,
It's a lot of
nearly
money.
160 billion in today's money. The idea was that by providing Europe with large amounts of cash, America could kickstart investment in the economy.
Yeah,
And surprisingly, it worked. In the decade after the Marshall Plan,
it sure did. It worked really well with Europe. It worked really well with Japan, too.
GDP per capita across the region grew by
It's a miracle.
5%. For the Western world, this was a massive success. But for America, it also represented a turning point. It realized that through aid, it could make countries rich, and in doing so, create both new trading partners and long-term allies in the
And
fight
Korea.
against communism.
Yeah.
So after the success of the Marshall Plan,
Wow.
the US looked at another continent, Africa. At the time, the continent was still reeling from centuries of colonialism. In 1960, the average income in sub-Saharan Africa was less than $150 a year. and literacy rates were under 30%, with life expectancy hovering around 45 years.
It's pretty high.
Most of the continent lacked paved roads, electricity grids, or functioning governments. But it also had something America wanted: natural resources. The continent held massive
You gotta get the special rocks.
reserves of oil, copper, diamonds, and rare minerals. With a rapidly growing population, it was seen as a future economic giant. If America could repeat the success of the Marshall Plan, it could unlock a new economic frontier and build a key ally in the process. So the money started flowing. In the 1960s, sub-Saharan Africa.
What we should have done is we should have built like massive imperial citadels, like in Warhammer 40K, in different places in Africa where we have all the special rocks, and then we could have had like a military over there that would facilitate the special rock collection. That's what we should have done. That would have worked a lot better. I guarantee it would have worked way better.
Is receiving
We would have had way more special rocks.
$5 million US in aid every year. But by the 1990s, that number had increased 40
The rocks
times
must
to
flow, yes.
20 million. Africa quickly
Colony.
became the most aid-dependent region on Earth. By the 90s, aid money
An
made up over
imperial
60%
outreach.
of government budgets in countries like Uganda, Mali, and Burkina Faso. But despite this massive injection of cash, things were actually getting worse. In fact, from 1970 to 2000, the average income in Africa declined.
No way.
Receiving almost $600 billion
$200? Oh my god.
over this time period. So rather than changing approach, the West doubled down. In 2005, the UN launched the Millennium
This is more about what I was saying about how it's not about doing good, it's about appearing good. None of these people that are like these weird bleeding hearts on social media really give a fuck about Africans. They don't care about Africans. That's why they're using phones made with cobalt. Like, they don't care about that at all. What they really care about is being able to use their suffering as political accessories, social accessories, so they can be seen as a more virtuous or good person. That's it. It's not suicidal empathy, it's pathological empathy. It's narcissistic empathy.
But it's different, and the GA promised to double aid to Africa with the end of aiding poverty by 2030.
Why?
This wasn't just a government strategy anymore. It had become a public movement. Campaigns like Climate Relief in the UK, Live Aid, and Band-Aids Feed the World turned Africa into a more...
I mean, that was a generational concert. I mean, like, people still talk about that concert.
say, ordinary citizens were donating
Yeah.
millions. Schools held fundraisers, and celebrities sang charity singles, all under the belief that sending money would fix the problem. That all created a powerful narrative that poverty in Africa wasn't about politics, corruption, or bad governance. It was simply about a lot of money. And if we just gave enough of it, we could solve that problem.
It's just like, it's such a bird brain idea, bro. Like, I don't understand, like, how anybody could believe this.
2010, aid flows to Africa had reached over $50 billion a year, the highest level in history. Yet nearly $2 billion later, those efforts have fallen dramatically short. 400 million Africans still live on less than $2 a day, the highest number in history, and the continent's share of global trade remains below 3%. Many countries now are poorer than they were in the 1980s. All of that raises the
So everything's just got worse.
obvious question. Why did aid manage to kickstart the European economy, but totally failed to do the same in Africa?
Nobody has any idea why.
Like always, the range of ideas will be closed, from the continent's geography to its colonial history. But in the last few years, one school of thought has gained particular attention amongst development experts. Their idea is simple. It can all be explained by something economists refer to as institutions. These are the frameworks that govern societies, things like the rule of law, property rights, and democracy. And they might be the single most important factor when it comes to explaining why aid
That's not the most important thing.
be making things now worse. When the Marshall Plan began in Western Europe, Europe had the infrastructure of functioning states. Ministries, legal systems, and public institutions, though damaged, had existed for decades. These institutions provided the framework needed to rebuild. They could collect taxes, distribute resources, and enforce laws, all essential functions for a stable and functioning society.
Yeah?
But in much of Africa, the picture was very
Oh, classic.
Classic. A bunch of 12-year-olds sitting in a pickup truck Toyota with AK-47s, shooting them off wildly. What is this, Joseph Kony's Child Army tryouts? Different. Oh, the fucking states had only recently gained independence. The governments were either newly formed or inherited from colonial administrations. But in both cases, the institutions were generally designed for one purpose: to extract wealth. Unlike most Western democracies, states function almost entirely to serve the interests of the ruling elite. Yep, that's right. That's what they do over there. Indexes tracking the quality of government institutions have consistently found that African countries. There's no way it's that high. 2.6? Are you kidding me? Of the list. In 2025, African nations made nearly half of the bottom 30 countries in the Polity Democracy ranking. It's not hard to imagine how pouring hundreds of billions of dollars into these states goes wrong. Money that was meant to fund growth, swift hospitals, electrification, often goes straight to the hands of the ruling elites. The presidents who fly private jets to international conferences, or government ministers spotted wearing $60,000 Rolex watches during MC. Can you imagine how much aura it would have if we had like these gigantic fucking imperial fortresses in like these different places? Can you imagine that? Like, it would be fucking insane. Anti-poverty meetings. I'd be so proud. Yeah. Loses around 30 billion every year due to corruption, and 30% of all the aid money it receives. So 30 billion. So 30% of their. So wait a minute. So they're receiving $100 billion. There's no way that $70 billion isn't doing more. Okay? There's no, like, are you telling me that $70 billion can't get them to figure out a fucking road? They can't figure out running water? What are we talking about? There's no way it's only 30%. 50 years. This could amount to hundreds of billions of dollars being stolen. But the problem is, you Americans look like you're so sad that you missed it on the good old European colonialism times. Yeah. Like, I mean, I remember whenever I was reading about, like, I mean, these dudes, honestly, you think about it, how big of an ass, like, they literally sent the biggest dickheads of the entire country off to the other side of the world with infinite money, and they said, we will pay you $1 billion, please leave. Hopefully you come back with some nice gold in like 20 years, and if not, well, that's just what happens. Like, and really, like, yeah, how could you not miss that? I mean, nuts. We're colonizing space? Yeah. This money is effectively being wasted. Also actively supports the very institutions that make development so powerful. Oh, wow. In a normal democracy, governments are funded through taxes. And that creates a two-way relationship between the state and the people. When the people pay taxes, they expect services in return. And if the ruling class fails to provide this, then they run the risk. I'm going to give like maybe a hot take. Democracy is not as good as people think it is. Democracy only works inside of high trust Western society because of everything. Like, imagine democracy, imagine society as a pyramid. Democracy is the tip. So unless you have everything else underneath that pyramid, you might be better off with a king. Yeah. The United States isn't a democracy. I'm going to ban you. Actually, I'm not, because I already forgot your name. But nobody, like, you, we all know what we're talking about. You're trying to, I learned in history class. Shut up, you fucking retard. People don't think they need government. But in 8 dependent countries, this accountability mechanism is broken. Because governments receive their funding from foreign donors, it doesn't really matter what the people of the country think. And so corruption is able to persist with very little domestic resistance. A golden chair. Bro, he's actually going and sitting in a golden chair while everybody else is fucking living in a mud hut. Wow. Resistance. This pretty much sums up the continent's political process for the past 50 years. Take Malawi, for example. At various points in the 2000s and early 2010s, Foreign aid made up more than 40% of the national budget. Huge amounts of money was being stolen by government officials and paying for things like luxury cars, private homes, or even international shopping trips. By the way, none of this even comes remotely close to the amount of money that they were receiving. Like, that's not, like, corruption, in my opinion, is not a big reason. Because, like, if you add together, like, so if you're receiving, like, let's say, like, $3 billion, for example, right? $3 billion. So a jet, buying a private jet is like $17 million, something like that. Could be like $40 million, somewhere around there. You have a house. Okay, this is probably like $3 to $5 million. You've got, let's see, a Lexus is like $100,000. Like it's like a fractional, tiny amount of the money. Whenever you really look at it, it's nothing. It's like probably less than 5%. You've got to look at it, and you can't just blame this on the elites. Yeah, you can't spend $40 billion. You might expect a scandal to spark mass outrage, and after all, the government was siphoning off millions that were meant to serve the public. But that simply never happened. Did they just activate Purple Drank? Well, the government was siphoning off millions that were meant to serve the public. But that simply never happened, because there was basically no political... Damn! As the government's funding came from foreign sources, people most affected by the mismanagement of public funds, the Malawian citizens, had very little power to demand systemic change. This isn't unique to Malawi. The same dynamic has been occurring across the continent for decades. I'm going to give maybe a hot take. People might not like this opinion. I think it is a Western pathological narcissistic fantasy to imagine that everywhere else in the world wants to live the same way that we live. You might look at all these Africans living in mud huts that don't have electricity, and you might say, wait a minute, I know how to solve all your problems. I'm going to introduce all this technology and all this new stuff to you. But has it ever occurred to you that maybe they're not really comfortable with that? Maybe that's not how to improve their lives. Maybe not everybody has to. Like the idea that, like, I view Western civilization as the greatest civilization of all time, and I would never want to live anywhere else. That being said, I don't think that every other country in the world should follow our rules. Like, the people that are living there have their own way of life. They do things their way. Our way is not their way. And I would say their way is really stupid and really bad, but it's their way. And this idea, this narcissistic fantasy that we're going to somehow show them the wonders of having to drive to AutoZone at, on Wednesday to buy an air filter, and this is going to somehow improve their lives. I don't agree with that. I don't necessarily think so. Like, being addicted, oh yeah, well, no. We can get the Africans addicted to buying the new iPhones too. Who gives a shit? Maybe they don't want that. Maybe that's not what's in their best interest. Why don't you just let them fucking be? Yeah, they're going to have problems, but they're also going to not have problems. That's the way I see it. They desire, sometimes they desire the money. Maybe they're better that way. Not everybody, it's such a Western-centric type of thinking that you assume that every group of people, every cultural and ethnic group of people desires what you have. Not necessarily. And all their problems can stay over there. Yes, mo money, mo problems. Sure seems like that's the case. I partially agree, but wouldn't the majority of them trade their places for a Western livelihood? If you ask a person, would you rather have a salad or a cake? Most people would say they would rather have a cake. But if you give people cake all the time, they become fat hogs that are diabetic that die. So sometimes you should look at what is best for people without necessarily asking them. Sometimes you just have to make a decision. You have to think about what the right decision is and what the wrong decision is. And also,
like we have African, like there's plenty of people. Like remember that guy earlier, or like that friend I was talking about, like at high school. Like there are plenty of people from Africa that have immigrated to the UK and to America that are great Americans and great citizens, and there's no problem. I think it should be kept in mind that this is true. Now, I mean, migrants obviously give them a bad name, but whenever you're talking about the legal immigrants that followed the process, these are real, legitimate stand-up Americans, right? They are, and they're positive to the culture, and I think it's good. And so that's not a bad thing at all. But at the same time, that's not everybody. That's not all of them.
In part explains why
My face is
we
getting
still have
better.
such high levels of
No, it's
corruption.
not.
Of course, some level of corruption exists in basically every
I
country,
checked my weight
especially
yesterday.
during their early development stages. But even under these circumstances, the country
143
can
pounds.
usually still achieve economic development. Small businesses, farmers, and entrepreneurs can drive progress from the ground up, creating jobs and expanding access to goods and services without
From my
relying
beard.
heavily on the state.
That's the problem.
This is another one of the main problems with aid. It makes ground up work much, much harder. This aid makes this route of development far less likely. That's because more often than not, the things being provided by aid organisations are in direct competition with local businesses.
Yeah.
Take the textiles industry. By the early 2000s, nearly 80% of the clothing sold in some African nations
Yeah, also, like, you look at these people, they're just walking around wearing, like, Goodwill clothes. So there's no local businesses there at all.
came from abroad. At first, that might seem like a win-win. The clothes were cheap, and aid organisations feel good about reducing waste in Western countries. But the effect on local African industry was devastating. In Ghana alone,
It's like
over
dumping.
80%
Yeah.
of domestic textile factories shut down between 1990 and 2010, which meant thousands
We're
of jobs
helping!
disappearing.
Haha!
So
I'm a
the
good
knowledge,
person!
machinery, and networks needed to sustain a homegrown industry. In fact, in the last 2 decades, Africa's industrial sector has shrunk from 15% of the continent's economy to now just 10%. This isn't a coincidence. Academic research has found that, on average, foreign aid hurts industrialization in Africa. Even the
Give a
World
man a fish.
Bank, one of the biggest aid organizations in the world, found that periods of increased aid tend to weaken local manufacturing. But it's not just domestic industries that suffer. The entire structure of the economy can be distorted in ways that make economic growth far less likely. To understand why, it helps to look at how countries
That's a
actually
nice
grow
voice.
rich. In the last few decades, almost every country that has achieved rapid development has done so through an export-led model. Nations like South Korea, Taiwan, and China have all seen huge amounts of economic growth in the past few decades, and they did this offering low-cost goods that appealed to Western consumers and then selling them on the international.
So the way every country makes money and gets rich is by us giving them money. It's just they give us stuff for the money. Yeah, that's about right. I'll tell you that. It's just the way it is.
markets.
Yeah,
Over time, this allowed them to industrialize
it's the way it is.
domestic industries and eventually move up the value
You're
chain.
welcome,
There's
world.
an
Yeah.
essential part of the process that people tend to forget: maintaining a weak currency. Doing this makes the country's exports cheaper on the global market and boosting demand from foreign buyers. This increased demand then helps local industries grow, creating jobs and bringing in valuable foreign income, further fueling development. But aid money creates the opposite effect. When money flows into the country, it needs to be converted into the local currency so that governments and aid organizations can actually spend it. For doing this,
Somebody's
pushes up
getting
the
a
price of the
percentage,
currency on foreign exchange
Yeah.
markets in response to the higher demand. Having a more valuable currency may not sound like a bad thing, but it actually causes a serious problem. A more expensive currency means that for foreigners trying to buy a country's produce, everything suddenly becomes more expensive, so people simply stop buying the produce. For developing economies, this is a total disaster.
Jesus,
It means the
okay.
export-led model that worked so successfully in East Asia becomes impossible to replicate. In Africa today, exports account for
God.
20% of the average GDP, less than half of most
So
successful
how did they make money? What the hell do they do?
East Asian economies like Hong Kong, South Korea, or Taiwan. Instead of developing competitive industries and shipping products around the world, aid-dependent countries end up relying on foreign assistance to survive, while their domestic economies remain uncompetitive and underdeveloped. Of course, that's not to say there's no good that aid can do. In theory, it has the potential to fill crucial gaps in development, things like building roads, schools, and power grids, all facilitating domestic economic expansion.
I'm totally against this. You can't figure out how to build a fucking road. You probably can't maintain it either. So we're going to go over there and build a road so we can feel good about ourselves, and they're going to fuck it up in 10 years. It's a waste of time. Really, I mean, let's be honest.
But that brings us to the final and potentially most serious issue with foreign aid. It almost never effectively delivers. A 2012 report by the Centre for Global Development found that up to 70% of aid projects either failed to meet their targets or had no measurable impact. In some sectors, the waste was staggering. An audit of health aid in Uganda found that nearly 1/3 of donated medical supplies never reached their intended recipients.
It just never even gets there.
Lost to
What a waste.
Management or simple logistical failure. In Haiti, after the 2010 earthquake, billions in aid.
Yeah, keep in mind, we still have Roman roads from 2,000 years ago. If they wanted to build roads, they could build roads. They could, like, theoretically, they could just get the rocks together and then put the rocks together and then make a road with the rocks. The Incas as well? Yeah, you're right. We always forget about South America, but they had some really advanced civilizations. You're right about that. Could they, though? I mean, theoretically, a person could do that.
Oh dear. Yet less than 10% of it reached local institutions.
10%?
Most was routed through foreign contractors, NGOs, or overhead costs. And more than a decade later, many communities still lack basic sanitation or permanent housing.
So look at this. It's like LA. Like, if you told me this is LA, like in the Palisades, I'd be like, yeah.
To understand why, it's helpful to look at the systems that function effectively. Take a business operating in a competitive market. If it provides a bad product, consumers will simply switch to its competitors, and the firm's revenues drop. And if it doesn't make changes, it may even end up going bankrupt. The point is that people who are providing the product are accountable to the people who end up actually using it.
Yeah.
But foreign aid doesn't work that way. If a project fails, the recipients can withhold their taxes or vote for someone else.
Yeah.
Because funding comes from foreign governments or donors, there's no mechanism for rewarding success or punishing failure. The result is an enormous lack of incentives to actually do things well. And the story of foreign aid in Africa is not simply one of failure, but of misplaced assumptions. What began as an effort to lift nations out of poverty has created systems of dependence, weakened institutions.
It's because nobody cares about helping. Nobody actually cares about helping them. They just care about being seen as they're helping them. That's the reason why. Machu Picchu is from a forgotten civilization. It still has one of the most advanced watering systems in history. Yeah. I mean, like, look at the Roman aqueducts. I mean, at a certain point, whenever you're getting lapped by civilizations that were, like 3,000, 2,000 years old, you can't keep blaming colonialism. You can't keep blaming Europe or, like slavery or something like that. Like, it's really not that reason.
Stifled local industries. That doesn't mean that aid is still world. In moments of crisis, like famine, conflict, or natural disasters, all people provide vital short-term relief. But as a long-term development strategy, the evidence is hard to ignore. Aid does not deliver the transformation it's promised. If the goal is to support sustainable growth, then the focus needs to shift toward building strong institutions, supporting local business, and creating systems.
I think we gotta leave the fuck alone. Let's do what the hell they're gonna do. They want to go cut each other up, go ahead. They want to go and get their shit together, great. But damn, I don't want to do them. I certainly don't want to pay for them. Holy. You want to get the special rocks? Okay. Let's go get the rocks that we leave.
Friends are accountable to their people, not to foreign donors.
That's all there is to it.
Until that happens, the cycle of dependency is just going to continue.
No, I think it's, cycle of dependency is a very good way to say it. Yeah, and this is also, I think this happens with welfare in countries that we have, right? And, let's see here. The guy's jaded. You want to know what happens to those bags of rice? They're going to let their people starve, and then they steal the rice, rebrand it, and sell it to people who couldn't pay at the beginning. Yeah, it's just listen. I mean, there's a reason why like African warlord is like a meme, right? I mean, like it's because they've been doing this for a long time. There's a cops on video of a horse-mounted officer chasing a fatty. You're gonna have to show me that. I haven't seen that at all. Corruption is bad, but I am not involved, dude. Everybody knows. An economy professor in Sweden once told me that third world aid is when poor people in rich part of the world give money to rich people in the poor part of the world. Damn, that's bad. Nigerian here, I promise you that money isn't reaching the people that actually need it. Dead ass, I got a UN fundraiser ad for Sudan watching this. Sign at my local park. Please do not feed the birds. It creates a dependent and unsustainable population and will cause great suffering in the future. Yeah, because there's going to be too many birds. There's too many fucking birds. Oh my god. You see a 30-minute Fable gameplay showcase? I didn't see that. I need to look at that. And the reason they're poor is because they don't have enough money. That definitely is it, guys. Basically, Africa needs entrepreneurs, not charity workers. Well, they need to have a focus in education. They need to have a focus in actually building things. And you can't teach people that. Like, there isn't, like, you're not going to go through, this isn't going to be like Stand and Deliver, where you just fucking man mode and you teach a bunch of fucking people calculus, right? They're not going to get it. You have to let them figure this out themselves. You cannot give this to them. And they need Adderall? Yeah, they need. That's what Africans really need. Are more pharmaceutical drugs. Oh, yeah, definitely. And oh my God, Rwanda's doing better than other countries. So Mr. Beast was right. I mean, in my opinion, I mean, like I would, like, I don't give a fuck. I do give a. It's not that I don't give a fuck about African countries. I mean, obviously, I can commiserate with what's happened, but like, I don't want to spend my fucking money on this, right? Do you directly benefit from Africa's colonialism? I don't really see the issue here. Again, anybody who's blaming this on colonialism is the biggest fucking idiot, bro. Like, they're so dumb. I don't even know what to say. Table Showcase is so cool. Watch it. I know. I'll have to look at some of that in a bit. I will. And they don't have civilization ball knowledge. I guess they don't, right? Do we know we built a country in Africa for let's go back? Well, I don't know about that. I have no idea. But I mean, like, just in general, they'll give the money. I mean, I don't know why anybody will do that. There is a gambling epidemic. And I'm talking about, like, bro, this is real big. And y'all probably know about this already, but we can get into it. So it's a big, big problem. What's new? Well, I know. Trust me, it's been bad for a while. But right now, it's getting a whole lot worse. And so, yeah, you got XQC, Abe, Drake, Nate Shot, Theo Vaughn, Joe Rogan, Kevin Hart. Oh, man. You got all the boys. All right, let's get it.
Gambling has changed. It used to be you lose your money on slots in Vegas, but today, not only can you do that, you can also bet on your favorite sports team.
That's right.
Going to this individual pitch or an all three in a parlay. You can do it from your phone, your tablet, your Apple Watch. You know, just have to get
Gambling is more accessible now than it's ever been.
gambling on video games. On Windows, you can do it in Roblox or on regular stocks, on meme stocks, gamble with calls, gamble with currency.
Everything is a gamble.
Gamble on political events. Yep. Zelensky's going to wear a suit before July.
That's right. That's right.
Yep. If you're thinking of sure. You don't just have to gamble on that. You gamble on crypto, like Tripcoin, Dogecoin, Farcoin. You can gamble on the champion of Farcoin. You can gamble on any of the posts the champion of Farcoin has ever made on whether they will become popular. If none of that's your cup of tea, you can also just gamble directly within your banking app on a game of roulette.
Wait, there's a banking app that lets you gamble inside of it? That's like having a hospital sell crack.
Like a channel.
What?
Get me started on the ads. Turn on sports, esports.
Oh my god.
Not even my favorite political show is saying Prize Picks the best app to firearm sports in the game.
Yep.
You will be bombarded with gambling ads by every big person you've ever heard of.
Oh yeah.
DraftKings. And they pay so much money.
They pay tons of money. Gambling sponsors pay so much money.
Well, DraftKings Sportsbook. How did we get here? And is it a good thing that we're turning every spare moment of our lives into a game of chance? I'm betting no.
far enough from there. Yeah, it's just going to get worse, I think, too. It's going to get even more common. Damn, what the fuck? It's the gamification of America. I feel like I hear it's even worse in Europe. Is that true?
There are three things responsible for gambling becoming more mainstream. But the first and biggest trend
That's a good intro.
is simply the mainstream becoming more like gamblers. See, Silicon Valley learned a decade ago that gambling mechanics are incredibly good for consumer attention, so they put them everywhere. Everything that you're shopping online. Well, now you can spin a wheel to unlock prizes. Really? It's like video games. Loot boxes.
Yeah.
Randomized items. You can even use those items as virtual currency in a casino. Video games. See, this is you found in the dedication. So, I'm in control. I'll always be low. I'll never be fine. If life is a moment, it's all so cold. It's slow. It's very
Sip's gonna love it, this song. And all this hardcore, ROK bullshit going on right now. I'm starting to realize I fell in love with it at the perfect time. The lyrics are just perfect. Suit my mind for this bullshit shit. So I might have it on repeat here for a while. Shit. You said? I don't know how you get with it. Just forgetting that never gets bored with me. Here.
It's always so. Where is the story? After it gets better with time. It gets better with time.
The real niggas have secret this thing.
So I let it control me. I always belong. I'll never be found. It's like there's a moment. So bold. So it's very true.
Yep.
It's very true.
Here. What? No, that law that license where's that penalty? Huh? Where? It's for that actually. She's supposed to be the master of jump shot.
You're not selling it, nigga.
So we combining it?
Yeah.
What the fuck? Steady.
Oh, get rid of your shit. I hoarded.
Honestly, the only reason I don't play in model casts is because of the Fall series.
The
Makes
what?
model casts money.
You also use bottle caps to make your Pokemon perfect evolution. I mean, perfect effort value points.
Yeah, well, if they had like some, well, that would have been so cool. They could have gave like you a certain brand of clothing with a bottle cap, and it has a code that you
Yeah. No, they rather make the bottle cap cost $100.
So they can make money. Stay on it. See, there's a cool shit. Man, I love you, bro. I've been keeping up with that, so just because I've been there, the bullshit just keeps getting more weird about everybody. So, I forgot about that. Bullshit is. Dr. Twinkie Stone. What? Since this is part of a joint show here. Oh, was he
Don't get some more. So hard. So, it's very much.
What? I feel a little bit better now. Time to change this.
Search you on this thing? Okay. Oh, okay. The Santa crowd were here.
You don't understand.
Everybody on the logins. Jesus Christ.
You don't understand. Amount of bullshit.
The fuck? Yeah. What? Bruh. Bruh. Nah. Nah. Not with the weight. She's beating the shit out this guy. Bro, what did I just witness? Yo. What am I witnessing?
What kind of fighting league is this?
That nigga can blend into the night.
He is the knight.
Bro, he's a locked character. You have to unlock him still.
His eyeballs are flat. There's no white in his eyeballs.
Bro, if he smiles at you in the dark, run.
At least his fingernails are white.
Shit.
That's not fair. You wearing shoes, the man is wearing your shoes. Man, I'm trying to get high, bro. Oh my god. What?
Bro, no way. No. Really?
You're both trying to pick each other up at the same time.
What is this fight?
Million, bro. You are like the weirdest fight ever. He lost. I looked at Million for 1 second and he lost. What the fuck? There's no need to watch you, man.
What?
No,
Three timer.
Fuck.
You're not done yet? Ah! Speak to your manager now, bitch. Have them go for details. Oh, no. Almost giving that nigga up, even though he was down. Man, this news is not for its leader. Hey, leave. And you got how you go from leave and you know go man, yeah. Jeez. So dude in the green one? So I will never let that nigga go leader. Bro, he's killing this guy. Yeah, green one. All that time you leave and you get your ass whooped. No, rewind it. Bro, rewind it. This is what the fuck. You see what happened. The delay effect. This bullshit here. That boy's drunk. What's even in the bitch time? What the fuck?
You are the biggest, just
You know what? I'm just playing.
one real fighter versus three batteries. Is that even fair?
Nah.
Culture James. Smack.
That's lit though.
Why is it chicken the stage? Why
What?
is so many other?
Why's the biggest dude running away?
This is embarrassing. It's three of y'all versus this nigga.
Oopsie. Oopsie. No.
I need to get more weight.
That's what John. John. You got hit one time and started running. Immediately just. So how you make a trade? I'll beat that. No, man. What's that do? Better be having that strength. Low key. Low key. That makes sense. That did punch. Talking is like literally a practice dungeon to this. You need to walk the position is like fucking bro, listen. Bitch. Yes, please. Sit down. Nah. Is woman fighting a fucking Marine or some shit? She got buzzed. Migraine. Migrating. She's taking his. The membrane is the subatomic particle. The subatomic particle represents a soul. Yeah, he's losing string or biting a vibrating membrane. So, believe it or not, we now have a candidate in the mind and law that Albert Einstein wrote about in the last year life. The mind of God is listening. My creation and usually. Man, I can't not let you go to this night. Right? I would feel so quick. Drop. Oh man, shit. He got on that one neck and did not let go. The type of fighting game combo is this how you doing? Watch out, spin. What was it that you had? Second character. This is sad.
Get your hands up, bro.
Bro, just tap out.
The nigga looks so tired punching him. Like, take, take, take this. You're not even getting knocked out, bro. Put your fucking hands up.
Yo, take this shit. Jesus Christ. I'm so scared of what?
Mosquito bites.
You twist that. Oh, son. Actually, it sounds wrong at that much. Damn.
Like Grizz music. Huh? I don't like the tunes.
I like this collab with movie. So long, right?
I love the fact that he's mixing jazz with dubstep and EDM. So for me, it just doesn't. Especially since I started listening to the type of music you put me on, subtronic shit.
I figured you all like Nickel Stranger too. So we can
Well, yeah, I've been like I said.
Oh, yeah.
I think I started liking Liquid Stranger more than. I mean, I started liking Liquid Stranger way before I even knew about Grizz and even what's his name, Dramatic. I don't think Dramatic's big hits anymore though.
Yeah, but you make this to me too. You're gonna go through your trippy YouTube videos.
Oh, not the White Knight.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's good. He's more like reggae mixed with. I wouldn't say he's jazz. Grizz is way more jazz than
No, no, no. I wasn't saying that. It's not me. These are me.
yeah. Ganja White Knight is cool.
I mean, listen, even Liquid Strangers for some stuff though.
Yeah, I heard him.
Well, I mean, what else his label will con? She's blowing up his cool stuff. Like Lucid is good. Lucid is really cool. What are you thinking of? Oh, you're what? Oh, and me little baby. Oh my God. He's dead. He's done for work. He feels nice.